Hello and welcome back to another episode of the CQ the Watch Guy podcast with me, CQ the Watch Guy. Hope you're having an amazing day and I hope your week is off to a great start. Yeah, thank you so much for tuning in. We are here back in Miami. Weather is doing okay. We got some clouds with no rain, so I decided to give us an out-day show. And yeah, here we are, halfway through January. Comes and goes so fast, right? And we're in that stage where, at the end of the year, everything's, holiday season, everything's moving so fast. Things are going by so quickly. The days, the time, everything's going by so quickly. But now we're in a time where the holidays are over. We're, going through a little withdrawal. Now things are a bit more calm. We could take our times. Us as watch collectors, enthusiasts, this is a interesting time for us because you might have spent your, there's a share who spent the big bang during the holiday seasons, so we're, recovering, let's say. But then there's also hunting season, right? Because you find a lot of interesting deals in this period, right? This is kind of the lull in the year, in my opinion, if you're in the business. But what happens during this time is all the trades and everything that came in at the end of the year, those are starting to pop up in inventory all over. Also, pieces that are, we're moving and things like that might be a little bit slow. So it's an interesting time to try to get deals. This is really a great time to trade, to me, in my opinion. I always call this trade season because a lot of dealers, might want to restock at this time. Including us, feel free to send us your trades. And you're able to leverage the pieces you have and, maximize your value there. I think I've been talking to a lot of collectors in the past few months, and trading is one of those things where everybody's afraid to take a loss, right? Everybody's afraid to take a loss on what they have. But I think, for me at least, it's easier to take a loss and use the value that I have to put into something else versus take a loss and just, cash out or something, especially, if I don't have like a cause that cash is going to, right? So I always say, take opportunity to trade. If you are looking to get something else in the market, leverage what you have, leverage your relationship, try to get some good value there. And everybody's always happy to take trades, of course. That I say that with a grain of salt, just because, hey, if somebody has 20 of something, they might not give you the most aggressive number, but you're always going to get a better deal doing a trade than a straight up sale in 99% of the cases, right? Sometimes it just doesn't work out that way. But take a minute, take a breath, look at your collection, go back to what I was saying in the past few episodes. What are your collecting goals for this year or in the near future? Are there any pieces you really, you want to hunt towards? And, kind of figure out your game plan. I think this is going to be a very interesting year for watches. We're a few months away from Watches and Wonders, so we'll see what pieces get released. But I think it'll be an interesting time to snag certain pieces, especially if you're looking a little bit out of the main flow, the main gaze of the collecting community. I think there's just so much great, opportunities out there to get good values at prices you just wouldn't really, you don't really see, especially in the past few years. So good time to trade, good time to look at the collection, analyze what's going on. Don't be afraid to take a loss, take a little bit of a loss. Again, I don't see it as a loss if you're folding it into something that you're going to enjoy and you enjoy the watch that you're trading, right? I think we got to, step back a little bit from thinking everything we're going to make a profit on and get back to actually enjoying the watches, having some fun, and living with the watching collection and having some great experiences. And then if it's time to move on, it's time to move on. But I think we should definitely, and of course, hey, who doesn't want to make a little bit? Who doesn't want to break even? But we're back to kind of the norm now, right? Where if you buy something, you're going to lose a little bit, 10, 15%, maybe a little bit more depending on the brand and the situation. But to me, that 10 to 20, even 30%, you should make sure you get your enjoyment out of it, right? So that's why it goes back to buying what you love. Buy pieces that you truly enjoy. I don't care the brand. I don't care the name on it. If you truly enjoy something and you wear it, you're going to have a good time with it. You're going to have good experiences with it. That enjoyment equity means so much, right? Versus the dollar equity. Yes, dollars and cents is always good. But if you get to enjoy it, have some good experiences with it, it kind of sung to you. I think that's what it's all about at the end of the day, right? If you're, a collector, somebody who wants to be enthusiast, I think that's the way to go. If you're, in the investment path, God bless you. I think that's a rough way to go in this particular market, unless you're going to the moon, and talking very heavy pieces with very limited quantities. And that's a conversation for another day. Enjoy your watches, but don't be afraid to trade your watches if you know you're not enjoying it. You got a nice, let's say you got a nice sub, and you look at your case, you got a nice sub for the holidays, you look at your case, you see a lot of other divers there, and you're saying to yourself, man, this sub is going to really take most of the wrist time. Let's move some of the other divers out there. Get in something else. Get in something unique that you know you're going to enjoy, something fun. Maybe a diver that looks so different from the Samaritan that you can force yourself to wear it. Not force yourself, but you're attracted to wear it when you open that watch box or watch case in the morning. My thing is, like, you should always have a little bit of a tough choice, right? When you open that watch box, you're like, what I'm gonna wear today. You should have a little bit of a conversation with yourself, and that's when you want everything that's in your collection. I think that's a big thing. Make sure you want everything that's in your collection, and if you don't want it, maybe it's time to move on and move it out, get something that you do want and you will enjoy, right? So that's my tip of the day. My tip every day: buy what you love, but don't be afraid to trade. It's a good time. Trading season is here. All right, now let's get into the watches of the week. I have some special pieces for you. Make sure you always check out DavidSW.com. Hit that new arrivals tab. That's where you see all the new pieces that we're posting every day, every night. You're seeing new watches up there, and we've been getting a really cool mix. First up, Cartier, Calibre de Cartier, steel on steel bracelet. This is a watch that when these first come out, I remember just kind of just being in awe of how fun and how unique they were, coming from Cartier and being like the holder of their in-house movement. We have this watch at an amazing deal right now. It's only travel case only, but we have it at $39.75, which is a great price for in-house movement Calibre de Cartier, a watch you don't really see that often. People don't talk about it that much because Cartier has kind of moved on to different things, but this was a great era for Cartier. And when I say era, it's only like a few years ago when they're really focused on the Calibre de Cartier, the Calibre de Cartier diver, and a lot of other pieces, and really honed in their modern era of in-house movements. And I think at $39.75, listen, stainless steel watch, ceramic bezel, good looking piece from a great watchmaking house. $39.75. This is the definition of a steal. 42 millimeters. Buy this before I buy for myself. I don't need to be spending any money right now, but I saw this pop up and I was like, wow, that's a great price for a Calibre Cartier. And again, a piece you don't think about. It's not something that pops in your head. I remember the Calibre Cartier blue diver is one of my favorite pieces, but I really enjoy the black as well. And I don't know, fun piece, unique, not something you're gonna see every day. And at the price point, it's kind of like, you don't gotta think too hard. Just pull the trigger, enjoy yourself, treat yourself, enjoy the watch. And that is one of my picks of the day. Really cool watch. So next up, we got in our first CPO, I believe our first CPO watch. So you have a Rolex 214-270 Explorer CPO. So this one is from 2020 with a recent service from November 2023. So 39 millimeter Explorer. I wanted to talk about it because now we're starting to see CPO watches appear all over the market. And, it's interesting because when CPO came out, there was kind of a big, what's going to happen? And now that you've seen kind of the landscape of CPO, and you see certain dealers have it at a very, very high price point, some a little medium price point, and now you're seeing some pop up in the secondary market. What does a nutshell CPO mean for you? Honestly, it just means you're getting a piece that you knew was, especially right now in 2024, that was serviced relatively recently. CPO's only been around less than a year, so anything that's CPO, is going to be serviced, within the last year or so. Now, as we get 3, 4, 5 years from now, that's going to be a little bit different because, things will change. But at least right now, if you're buying a CPO piece, it's something that's relatively recently serviced. And, depending where you're getting from, they get it from us. We bought this one as pre-owned, $88.75. So as you can see, CPO pieces, once they hit the true secondary market, are kind of floating within the same realm that I would have a 2020 excellent condition Explorer on. So you're seeing it the same price range as a piece with a service card or a freshly serviced piece. And this is good news because, again, it just gives another level of protection out there for people who are buying our market, especially if you're seeing these, in maybe smaller dealers. You definitely will, I'd be more interested in a CPO piece at a much smaller place. But when you're dealing with somebody big like ourselves, it kind of just floats in with everything else. And again, I treat this the same as just an Explorer with a fresh service card. But great to see that we're starting to see some of these come to market. And yeah, let's talk about Explorer now. It's just a great everyday watch. I've been talking about Explorers all weekend because they've been actually moving. They've been a relatively high volume model for us. And why? It's just a great looking, do anything, do whatever, take anywhere. It's a tank, still looks classy. It's been the Everest, a lot of stories there, but it's still a clean three-hander, blacked out piece, super legible. So it does everything you want it to do and just a dash more. But I really love Explorers. I've been more of an Explorer 2 fan, admittedly, but the Explorer ones have just been growing on me slowly by slowly. And I definitely think one might be in the future. Maybe I find a Domino's piece or something, right? Next up, we have a Panerai PAM 363 Luminor Chrono Daylight Buenos Aires limited edition. And I wanted to talk about this piece because this is, that really classic Panerai type watch, if that makes sense, right? Panerai being somebody who's a heavy Panerai enthusiast. And why is it one of those watches? It's a Luminor, it's a Luminor Daylight. Daylight being the movie that Sylvester Stallone first wore a Panerai Luminor in, which kind of started the domino in the late 90s of Panerai kind of getting out in the celebrity realm and therefore getting spread out in the world. So because of the success of that, there are many slide tech pieces and also a few daylight editions, which are kind of a tribute to the movie, but kind of like a insider secret, right? Because there's no paperwork attached for the movie or anything like that, full box and papers with the watch, but it's a nice little thing, just a nice little note. So if you know, you kind of know. This particular piece being a nice Chrono 44 millimeter PVD coated steel. The PVD coating on this one is still in very good condition as well. And usually these kind of fade really nicely depending on how you wear them. So I love the condition on it. I just love the look of this watch. I'm a big fan of Luminor Chronos. I don't know why, but I'm a big chrono guy. And I just love the look of, kind of a diver with a chronograph on it. Just kind of a fun juxtaposition to me. And I think the black case with the black dial, but then having all that beautiful lumen green. Then you have the minute and the second hands for the chronograph and a second hand, second sub-dial counter in that nice kind of stark blue. Gives you some nice color and just a lot of depth to this watch as well. And I think it's $78.75. A great piece if you're looking for a special Panerai. If you're somebody who's like an old school Panerai fan and wanted to jump back in, I think this is just a really great example to get something fun, get something off the beaten path, but still in the Panerai family. And again, this one is full set, full kit and caboodle. You got the manuals, you got the books, you got the warranty card, you got the nice scroll, which I always love that Panerai does that beautiful Panerai scroll as well. So great full set for somebody who's looking to add something really special to the collection. Now moving on, we have the Rolex Daytona two-tone. This is the 126503. So this is a new style Daytona for 2023. And we've been getting a lot of the 2023 Daytonas as well. So I've been putting my paws on them and having fun. I really enjoy this one. I personally have a older Zenith movement Daytona with a black dial, and these newer style Daytonas are the way they're kind of trimming up the sub dials a little bit, giving you more space on the dial. It reminds you so much of those 90s Zenith Daytonas, a little bit of a vintage feel, but everything else is super modern. Updated movement on these. The cases have been slightly trimmed in certain areas like the lugs and things like that. So a little bit more of a svelte watch, a good feeling piece. It's a Daytona, so it's always going to be good looker, but I just enjoy it. So now with this version, we kind of bring back that colorway with the champagne dial with the black sub dials, and I think that is just a really nice, beautiful character, beautiful looking piece. And it's fresh as a Daytona. Not much more needs to be said, but loving these new style Daytonas that are popping up. I'm definitely a fan. If you've been thinking about Daytona but kind of torn, do you go stainless steel, do you go precious metal? I think two-tone is such a wearable combination. It just goes with everything, does everything you want to do. Something like this with a little bit of a brighter dial as well. Really wearable piece you can have a lot of fun with. It's a brighter dial, but it still will go good in the suit, depending on what kind of setting you're in. And I think this travels really well with you too. Great partner in crime, as I like to say. All right, last but certainly not least, we have a beautiful Day-Date 40. This is a 228349 RBR. So what does that mean? That means you have a Pave diamond dial. We have baguette diamonds and baguette sapphires for the hour indices, and we have round brilliance on the bezel. Now this is a beauty. I really wanted to talk about this because you don't see too many Day-Date 40s with fully factory Pave diamond dial, bezel, indices, diamond, everything basically except the case there. Now it's just a piece I haven't seen in person, not a modern one. I've seen a lot of the older pieces, but to see a Day-Date 40, this one's from October 2019. I love a good precious metal Day-Date, as you know, and I enjoy factory diamond set pieces just because when it's done factory, the quality is a certain way, that everything is going to have a certain sparkle, the color, everything is going to match up perfectly, but also, your values there in your watch, right? When we go aftermarket, it becomes a little bit tricky when you're talking about trading that piece or selling that piece just because, as a dealer, if I'm not the one who sold it to you, I don't know the quality of the stones. I don't know. There's so much question marks that goes around it. Not to say the piece isn't, authentic or anything like that, but it's very hard to determine the exact value because once stones are set, it's hard because to really grade a stone, you got to get some light in there. And once they're set in there, it's really hard to get a true visual or valuation of the stone. So I love a good factory set piece. I love a good Day-Date 40. So this hits all the nails on the head for me. If you're looking for something special, you want a dash of bling on your watch, but you still want something that can, you can get away with it. You can still be a little bit under the radar, especially being this one's in white gold. I suggest you take a look at this piece. Well, guys, I want to thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you have a great week. Make sure you check out the website, DavidSW.com. Hit that new arrivals tab, and you'll see all the goodies I talked about here and much more. I'm CQ the Watch Guy. Buy what you love.